Wham! You're dead!
Hello, my dear whammers. I hope that you are all spending your time getting ready to wham. A whole circle of people whamming away, making sure that who whams first wins and who whams last loses. That's right, it's a racing wham this week.
Put down the biscuits, Adam. Put down the biscuits.
The whammy biscuits. Which is also the name of my jazz band.
I thought that was going to be the name of your prog rock album. That's my concept album.
Oh, Christ almighty. And we're off to a flying start. I, as always, am Adam, and with me is Andy Turnbull.
Bizarrely, in the place of the intro is always the voice of reason, which, if you know me, is absolutely the wrongest thing ever.
Just playing with people's perceptions, that's all it is. I am enjoying how this went from, over the sort of evolution of this, it's gone from trying to, like, get a really throaty, guttural wham sound out of me, which then involved me going to hospital. I don't know if the two are connected or not, and it's now just turned into horrendous, dirty, horrible jokes.
Today we would be encouraging people to do such things as we record at the start of No Nut November.
Oh, man.
Anyone who says they don't know what that is and is on the internet is lying.
Absolutely. I mean, I myself will have no nuts at all. We've made sure that there's no peanuts, no cashew nuts, and no monkey nuts in my shopping this week.
I mean, I like a Star Bar, so like No Nut November was failed quite quickly.
1st of November, nothing.
Yep. And for those of you that with peanut allergies who can manage more than a No Nut November, well done.
Yep.
I sympathise with you not being able to enjoy peanut butter and a Star Bar, but, you know, look after yourselves.
Oh, man. I feel sorry for everybody who is like outside of the UK listening to this now, who doesn't know what a Star Bar is. A Star Bar is a top 5 chocolate bar. It is a wonderful, wonderful, you know. Nothing will ever beat the Lion Bar for me. The Lion Bar is always going to be the king of the chocolate bar.
Oh, no. Anything that has the potential to look exactly the same going in as going out, can't hit top 10 purely on aesthetics alone.
But it's so tasty.
The thing is, you don't get as much out of a Lion Bar as you should, because obviously it's so misshapen.
Yeah.
So I always kind of take you're saying it's however many grams, but nah, not believing you.
Where would a Toblerone fit?
Oh, I do like a Toblerone. but I like the big, ridiculous, massive, weapon-sized Toblerones.
Yeah, the airport Toblerone.
I hold no truck with a tiny regulation Toblerone. That's for quitters. It's like, why bother? That barely touches the sides. Get yourself the behemoth.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You want to have the entire range of Alps that is the airport Toblerone.
Yeah.
Although I have seen them in B&Ms now as well, so you don't have to travel to Manchester Airport.
Excellent. I will pay that in mind next time I'm in B&M looking for Doctor Who figures, which are as rare as rock and horse shit because of scalpers.
Yeah. I found that B&M's toy aisle it's a mixture of disappointments these days.
Oh, no, it's just B&M's the only place that character actually stock Doctor Who figures in the UK. That's their exclusive outlet outside of anything they do online. But the problem is there are organised scalping douchebags who go in and clear them out.
Yeah. And
for those that aren't into toys, because I appreciate there might be some folk in there that may not be aware of what I mean by scalpers, is basically arseholes that will just go in, clear out the aisles, and then resell them.
Yep. As if you're listening to this, then the chances are you have tried to buy things on a release day for a Games Workshop product, and you will know the pain and the horror that is people scalping. I feel sorry for anybody who was buying the limited edition Horus Heresy books, because feck me, the scalpers found that one and went to town.
Yeah, it's like the problem with that is, to digress, is all the manufacturers putting that fear of missing out, artificial scarcity, in order to try and drive sales. And it's like, while you'll get that massive initial sales boost or sales launch, everything peters out over time. You don't have sustained sales as a result.
No.
And if that thing's if you train me as a purchaser that I might not get things, I'm not going to bother getting into it.
No.
Or I'm going to be more reluctant to do it.
No, I entirely agree with you. That one of the things that's happened over the last 10 years since I got back into this hobby is I have trained the FOMO out of me, because it's ridiculous. You don't need... No, nothing is important enough for you to be up at 6 o'clock in the morning with your finger over the buy button. Nothing.
Yeah. No, it's like, if I happen to be there, excellent, I'll go in and buy it.
Mm-hmm.
If not, I'll wait and see if I can get it, and if I can't, well, that's Games Workshop lost money, and I won't buy the rest of the stuff that's tangentially related to it, so you've lost even more.
Yeah. I don't know if I probably have spoken about this on one of the Fluffinama shows at some point, but one of the reasons that my toy buying dried up in the way that it did was because I didn't get to do the search anymore. You know, I like the entire experience of going out and hitting all the different shops and trying to find the thing that you're looking for. It's a fun experience. Me and Stu used to do it every other Saturday. We'd just go and do the toy search looking for something in particular, and it was loads of fun. When it gets to the point where you're just ordering everything online, you're losing out on so much of the experience, and I just get bored of it. It's like, oh, okay.
And it's always like the pre-order now, get your toy 6, 9, 12 months later. It's like, aye. I kind of, if I'm parting with money, I'd like it now.
Yes. It's one of the reasons I don't do Kickstarters and things, because...
I have a different policy on that with Kickstarters, because I'm well aware because I Kickstart it's mostly comics I'll get into.
Yeah.
And it's to ensure that
the thing is made.
Except, which is why it annoys me when proper publishers or established people use it. And it's like, no, you can afford this anyway.
Yes.
Like the Skybound Kickstarter for the Transformers Marvel reprints, where they made over $3 million for it. They used AI to correct errors that were there, which weren't, and ruined the dialogue. They used the remaster. They didn't remaster the art from what had been done in Hachette, which had previously been done by Digicore IDW, which was brutal, ruined line art, and put new errors in that didn't need to be there. Yeah, but they made $3 million off and did fuck all on it. And it's like, Robert Kirkman, you're not short of any fucking money.
No. Jesus Christ.
I'm part of the problem, because I didn't back the Kickstarter, but I did buy them when they came fucking out, because I needed them for myself. Because, fan and all that.
Because it's Marvel UK.
You look at it, But you look at this is the US stuff. The UK stuff's not coming out till next year in 2 blocks. Right. The big selling point of the Kickstarters is they have... Their ultimate one has the 4 volumes in the Marvel UK reading order. I didn't back it because I went, on principle, no, you can afford to put that out normally. You're choosing not to, and you're gouging money. You pack a cunt.
Yeah, 100%. Oh,
let's see. So I will Kickstart sort of independent comics. I'll always back, or anything like that. Not all of them, obviously, because there's loads, but the ones that catch my eye, or I know the people involved in it, in terms of it, or their work. But I don't back Kickstarters for toys, board games, or that from established publishers, because you've got the infrastructure, you've got the money, you're just choosing not to. Piss off.
Yeah, no, 100%, and that's what I mean. I refuse to do Kickstarters for anybody who would already be making this stuff and putting it out, because I think it's a ridiculous way of doing things. And as you say, if I'm buying something from Hasbro, from Mattel, whatever, I should be buying it, not giving you the money to make it to then send it to me 6 months later. do use Kickstarter for Will Robson, for example, who does the Outbreaks comics. Yeah, if you haven't read Outbreaks, by the way, go read Outbreaks. That guy is brilliant.
Yeah. Well, the Hasbro thing, Hasbro have their own in-house one, which is HasLab, and it's like, well,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm not being funny, but as a company, as a properly organised company, you will have your budget set for a year in advance.
Yes.
So your core production costs are baked in.
Yep.
So get to fuck with that shit.
Yeah, because Hasbro's got a Hasbro.
As we record, they are having the best Kickstarter going, or for our best HasLab going for the 3.75 inch Tron line, which currently needs to hit 10,000 backers. It's been moving between 1,095 and 1,097 backers over the last week. Fuck you, and fuck you.
Oh man! Right, should we get into some joy?
Yes. So so we are again, as this will be another double header episode, as we have Warhammer Monthly issues 21 and 22. So 21's our regular issue, and 22 is our final part of the Inquisitor, which we'll leave to the end.
Redeemer, not Inquisitor.
Inquisitor Redeemer. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just because I'm staring at the cover with Inquisitor
Yes.
on it right in front of me on the other screen.
Absolutely. Yes, we have issue 21.
So let's get to the cover, because I know Adam has.
Oh, I've got thoughts. Yeah. So I'm going to prefix this with I love Wayne England. Like, I genuinely adore Wayne England's art. I think Wayne England's style is super kinetic and brilliant, and it's the right side of cartoony, and it's always got this real solid look to it, and everything's got weight to it, and I love its colouring. This may be the worst piece of Wayne England art I've ever seen, and it hurts me. It hurts me to see it, because, oof. For a start off, so what do you feel about Inquisitor Spawn in the background there?
Yeah, yes. Well, it's very much the, as I was saying just before we were recording, this Defay, the cape feels like he's very much copied Simon Colby, because Colby has that when he does capes and sort of cloaks and have you, like a very angular approach, so not dissimilar to McFarlane, and obviously given the sort of not a million miles away from Spawn mask and the big guns.
Yeah.
It does very much have a
wonderful.
One nice interesting though is England makes the outfit that Defay has a bit more armor-like than Colby's really done in the book. Because we kind of talked about that in the very first episode, is like, didn't feel that's the Inquisitor, whatever armor he was in, didn't feel very 40k armory. No. This does feel like he is in sort of armor you'd expect. So
yeah, it's definitely a lot more 40k
in universe.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think that's due to just Wayne England's work over the last, well, at this point, 10 years. 12 years, in fact, of knowing the ins and outs of how to make 40k work on the page. Yeah. I mean, I think if it was just Defay himself, I would be all right with it. But look at the lad in front. That's
Strontium Gravier.
Yeah.
Because it just looks like Johnny Alpha with having a bad hair day, and God knows what's up with his skin.
Yeah, it looks like somebody who's got a severe case of acne and constipation. It's not a good cover. I don't like it. I really don't like it. I mean, the color choice is nice, having the red, nice warm reds on below, and then going into colder blues and purples up top. That's nice, but I don't know, the actual line art itself, the base of the picture, I really don't like it. It's
like I say, all I can look at when I see Gravier is this just Poundland Johnny Alpha.
Yeah. Johnny Poundland. Johnny Beta.
Johnny Beta, yes, good to say. Oh no, Johnny Sigma.
Johnny Sigma. Perfect.
I mean, it's also, it just has that generic 90s badass flavour to it as well.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
look, big guns. Whoa. The thing is, it has generic mid-90s energy, and we're in 1999 at this point. Come on
yeah,
now, pal. Move on.
yeah. No, absolutely, absolutely. And it's a shame because, as I say, I love Wayne England. I will always go to bat for him. But
Not everyone has a stinker in them at some point. Law of
absolutely,
averages, you can't just keep doing it. They're not all going to be winners. I mean, it's not awful. It's readable. Let's say you can parse everything. So
hmm
and as Adams mentioned, with the colours, it's enough that it would still pop off the shelf. So
well, yeah,
it's objectively going to do the job a cover should do, which is catch your eye. The problem is, on closer inspection, you might go, oh,
yeah,
oh. And again, especially from if you're familiar with the artist, it's like, oh, man, you can do better.
yeah, yeah.
Which we've kind of touched on. It's always the thing as you come in with a reader, particularly when it's someone whose artwork and it's like,
Yeah. And I think that's it.
oh,
That's exactly it. Because I have spent so much time looking at Wayne England's art, and I'm, yeah, so over the top, head over heels in love with his style, that when I see something like this, it feels worse than it actually is, if that makes sense.
yeah. It's always the thing, and we've kind of touched on quite a lot, and it's probably one of the bigger undercurrents of the and thematic undercurrents of this podcast is we talk about the baggage that we bring
Yeah.
as readers to it in terms of how it informs and distorts our view, and also it's kind of artists grow and evolve and change. So is this again, because this is I'm out of the hobby at this point? Is this Wayne starting to try something a bit different?
Wayne
Again,
Wayne gets a bit softer over the next couple of years. By 2002, when he's done a couple of Magic the Gathering cards, he's taken a lot of that angular look away from it, and he's
yeah.
gone a bit rounder with a lot of his
And
design
is this
work.
again? Is this the start of it? Because it is,
Yeah.
while it's noticeably Wayne England, that what it is this works a lot more blended than Wayne typically does. Wayne's
Yes.
art it has a cell shaded flavour to it in the
Yeah.
approach because it's very solid blocks, and it's the kind of thing that if he'd ever moved to doing his artwork in Adobe Illustrator very quickly, he could have translated that very easily because it's very angular. There wasn't a lot of blending of colour shapes. It
hmm
was block to block to block,
Yeah. Yeah.
which I loved.
Yeah.
But it's also the thing is it's the thing of artist styles will change and evolve, and we've talked about the likes of people like Mick McMahon and Frank Miller, probably the two best in terms of their styles at certain points have just gone a massive 180 in terms of what you were previously
hmm
looking at, and the palpable outrage from people who were fans. So how dare they do it? Their work's rubbish, and it's like, well, no, it's not rubbish. It's just not to your taste.
Yeah.
Because in this image, there is nothing wrong with this image from a technical or mechanical standpoint.
No.
We are reacting purely on aesthetics, and it's about I don't like that as much.
No.
Doesn't make it bad, doesn't make it good. It's just that's always the thing to try and keep in mind whenever there's your criticism, and also try and be mindful of that's your baggage coming into it. It's not an objective statement on the quality of the piece.
No. Of
It's
course
just
not. And
it's,
trying to
I'd say,
be objective for.
as a cover that works perfectly to pop off a shelf.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. And yeah, the use of color in it, I think, is an amazing way of making sure that you have a cover that is going to stand out. You are going to see that. Yeah, that gloriously vibrant red against the really cold blues and purples is beautiful. It's just it's Wayne England, and I hold Wayne England at a far too high a regard than I ever really should, because that's not fair. It's not fair on the art or the artist.
We put our favourite creators on pedestals, and we should.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, completely.
And that's it. You always do, and everyone does, and it's a case of it's just and you can't stop yourself from doing it.
No.
As can be seen from any time we see a Simon Harrison or John Hicklandon piece in this book. It's like 10 out of 10, no criticism, thank you, because that's it. I love their work, but you will always elevate that because it's something that's favourite to you.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah.
But as a cover, it works well. It's just the actual execution of it. And Adam and I are of a same mind. It's like, yeah, the gravier face is. It's more the face than anything else. I think if the face had been
Yeah.
slightly different,
It's the face and the fact that that face is right at dead center in the cover, and it
again. But if you're talking about it, he is going for a softer blend rather than
Yeah.
his normal angular stuff. And
Yeah.
it's as much a that's not how Wayne England paints.
no, it's
And no, I think the thing that is exactly how Wayne England plays. We just have a problem with it, and that's the to recognise.
yeah. There's a slight change in how he's drawn the image itself, and because it's then overlaid with how Wayne England works, I think he's trying and testing something new, and he hasn't quite got it yet. And that's
even looking at it is much more blended than anything he normally does.
Yeah.
So it's a case of I am all in favour of artists trying something new, because if you keep doing the same thing, you will eventually get bored
completely,
and the work becomes mechanical.
Mm-hmm.
So an artist will, we kind of talked about, artists will eventually just, as they become good and better, is rougher edges get filed off, or they hone into the stuff that they like doing.
Yeah.
And that's not always the taste of the people that discovered them at the time of the work.
No. It's why, a lot of the best artists out there, especially in comics, they have eras and stages, and you can pinpoint where somebody was at by a certain point. Like Jim Lee, when he drew Hush, it isn't the same Jim Lee that drew X-Men. There is a big difference between the two. Whilst the basics may be very similar, there is so much of a world of difference in how it's all composed.
And I will go out on a limb and say Jim Lee's best work is his early stuff. Not his early stuff, to be clear.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a couple of it is stuff on Punisher.
Yeah.
The Last Issue St. George, and his Uncanny up until 277 is the best he did.
Mm-hmm.
Everything after that becomes a little stiffer.
Yep.
A little bit more model catalogue pose. And Jim Lee, also look at anything he's inked himself after that. The black and white he did for Gotham Knights issue 1.
Yes.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Jim Lee and Scott Williams together, I find... I always have a soft spot because I was an X-Men fanboy. An X-Men fanboy, because I'm still a fanboy. However...
X-Fanboy, it's the new comic, right?
Yeah. I think there's probably one already been published, to be fair. That's kind of low-hanging for it. But I find the two of them together are remarkably sterile.
Yeah.
And I find that when Jim Lee inks himself, when you watch Jim ink himself, there's something more there. Yeah. But he can't keep the schedule anyway, given that his run on the previous Batman volume has not finished yet with Hush 2, the first half, whereas, as we record, issue 3 of the Matt Fraction Batman series that started at number 1, that was to follow on from that, is just about to drop.
Oh, gosh.
Yay! Anyway.
And that's why I'm sticking with Absolute Batman over everything else.
But I would also have recommended the Batman and Robin Year 1 and the Dark Patterns maxi series. Very good stuff.
Okay.
You'll like Dark Patterns.
I haven't done Dark Patterns yet. I shall add that to my list for the weekend.
Very grounded and horror tinged. You'll like it.
That's up my alley. That's very much up my alley. What isn't up my alley, though, is the fact that we have the two idiots, and we're not going to get into that again. But we also
still have them.
Yeah, they're still there. Not for much longer, though. Their time is starting to get numbered.
So we have, as traditional, the threat of the Redeemer. It's like next issue, the Redeemer's final bow, with a question mark. Thankfully, we can say the answer to that is yes.
Yeah, that is going to exist.
So what we have is we've got Blood Quest continuing on. We have Dark Blade continuing on. Inquisitor is back from its couple of issues absence, and the start of the Cal Jericho multi-parter that was promised.
Yeah, exciting things. We then move.
This is the bit to test, because, like I say, we kind of talked about it as Warhammer doesn't have its poster character for the book yet.
No.
And out of everybody Cal's probably the one that's got the. He's really the only solo character anyway, really, that you could potentially hang it on. This is going to be your test.
Yep.
Because, again, the comparisons between him and Nikolai Dante, now, although Dante would become a fixture of 2008, he would still have gaps in it when he wasn't there.
Yeah, you'd have a story that would exist for 4 or 5 issues, and then you'd go away for a little while. I think probably the longest he was in was maybe about 20 issues back to back.
I want to see maybe a little bit longer when they were getting to the back end of the Star Wars, because obviously they finish it off with Prague 2000 anyway, which was it's kind of the arguably 2000's biggest success in the 90s, Danny, by some margin.
Oh, yes. Oh, I mean, you compare it to Sinister Dexter, which started strong but kept going. What else?
It's more the fact that there's been several endpoints for Sinister Dexter, and they keep bringing it back. It's like, it would be thought of more fondly if they had just let it go.
Yeah.
But there's clearly enough fans of it, so again, it's a case of it's not that we're the final word on it.
Oh, no, nowhere near. I do like Durham Red, though. Anyhow, letters. So, somewhere in the warp.
So, the only thing to really sort of talk about is it's interesting that you can see Games Workshop making active pushes for things, because someone citing the fact that Warhammer Monthly is a brilliant idea, and he got the free issue with White Dwarf was very good.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you've got someone talking about that they enjoy the Black Library Open Day. Yeah,
I saw that. I quite like the using this as a way of expanding out what you can and can't do, because they talk about the Warhammer World displays, the wonderful game of squig baiting.
Yeah.
It's a
Bugman's Bar, and someone asking if Bugman's 4X is going to be made available commercially.
Funny enough, I've never actually tried Bugman's 4X. Oh well.
Something to look forward to at some point. But also, it's important to see, this is kind of where, because it's probably it feels like this is Games Workshop starting to aggressively reach out. Again, we're getting close to them, because they'll be announcing Lord of the Rings soonish.
Yeah.
In terms of license.
99, so 2 years' time.
Because
actually, no.
Because you'd be looking at it in terms of, the last time you would see that they probably aggressively went out was when second edition was available in, like, Argos.
Yes.
And high street stores, rather than just come to us.
I'm just wondering when Lord of the Rings actually released. Middle-earth strategy battle game. 2001, so...
So they would probably be announcing it a fair whack ahead of that, because...
Yeah. To coincide with the Film Fellowship of the Ring, so... Yeah, my guess would be... Now, I don't think the Lord of the Rings license will let them mention it in Warhammer Monthly. Because there's for Games Workshop to have that license, there was a load of very restrictive rules attached. It's why the Lord of the Rings miniatures are smaller than the Warhammer ones. It's so there's no cross-pollination between the two. Mostly because...
they'd still be able to announce and talk about it. They just couldn't do any, probably, they wouldn't be able to do any fictional content, which again...
No.
100% that'll be when they start to pimp it.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see when we get to that. It's one of those things where I've never really spent that much time going back and looking at the lead up to the Lord of the Rings game getting released. I might actually do that over the next couple of weeks just to see. Yes, interesting.
We're going. No, tell light is I found somewhere. October 2001 is when it's first teased.
Okay.
So, and then it arrives in November. So,
crikey, that's a quick turnaround, isn't it? You'd have thought they would have announced that well before then. And we're in September '99 now, so yeah, we're about a year out. Year and a bit.
Yeah.
Cool. The other letter I wanted to bring up is somebody, a Corn Lord lost in the warp would like the company of other Corn followers by the new thing. Email. I think Cal Jericho is an excellent comic strip. That Blood Quest bunch heading into the warp. Haha, suicide. I'm glad. Good riddance. Darkblade is another comic strip to my liking. It's a shame he's lost his soul to that demon, and a demon has ventured that. Soulsticorn, I hope we can find you again, and personally kick Baneblade's butt. We'll meet again, my brave and loyal Corn Berserker. P.S. Are you a world eater? It's points for trying.
Well, the best bit is, I think he was clearly trying to do what in old school comics you would be.
Yes.
We've talked about this before. You'd be able to share your address or your contact details, and folk could do it. He's clearly been attempting to do that, and they've just went via email.
Yep.
We ain't sharing any personal details.
I like to think that SM in his name is Space Marine. Space Marine Murphy. And Hugh Jones from Cardiff also says, I think that little maps go down well, and that some comic strips should be in colour. I would definitely buy any Warhammer or Warhammer 40,000 novels if there were any. It's 1999. There's a fair few.
There's a fair few. It's like, but
yeah.
But again, it's a case of that speaks to how well they've done a job of marketing the Black Library and the Black Library content.
Yeah.
And you're also looking at, we don't have any detail. Hugh has not told us his route to Warhammer Monthly. Has he just got in through the comic? Is he one of those people who, if you had any sense and walked up to Games Workshop store in the mid-90s, walked in and went, I'll just leave, thank you.
Especially in 1999. Oof. Now we're in full. We're very much in the Red Book era, and if you don't know what the Red Book is the staff handbook that was given to all Games Workshop employees. And if everybody wants a copy, I have one, and it's very interesting to read, and it is aggressive, to say the least. It is very American and very aggressive.
Yes, having at the time working at that point, September 99. Yep, I'd start working at Sky at that point, but previously then I'd been working at High Street Jewellers in Edinburgh, and the company had a very aggressive sales techniques, and in terms of approaches, in terms of physically how you would approach people, like in terms of your walk and your position.
Yep.
It's like you never take them, you never go front, or you're trying to approach either side or diagonal on. Because front on is always seen as aggressive. Make eye contact as soon as they enter shop, say hello, but don't pressure them straight away. But just let them know that you're there through that little bit. Then follow and move with them.
Yep. Oh God.
Be seen to be busy at all times. So you're cleaning and tidying, even if there's nothing there, nothing to be done. All this shit.
Yeah, I remember working for Virgin Megastore, and it was very much the same kind of mentality. And oh God, it was.
Again, I'm one of these people who I'm never rude to people working in the shops because I know it's not their fault, but it will be very clear. It's like, nope, I'm fine. If I need you, I'll come get you.
Yep. Oh man, just.
Yeah, flashbacks to nightmares in retail.
Oh yeah, never again. I will. Never again.
But let's move on to other nightmares now as we head up into Blood Quest 2, Episode 3. Again, the triumvirate of Gordon Rennie, Colin McNeil, and Fiona Stevenson are responsible for script, art, and letters. And we've got Leonatus and co. still stranded on this strange world in the Eye of Terror. And they're looking to escape. So they're about to go and get a boat.
Yeah. I love this. Andy, I love this.
I thought you would. Again, it's the fact that as you see, we see a horned beastman with dual-wielding axes lopping off some poor Chaos Warrior's head. It's the fact that the boat is clearly made of metal because it's riveted to hell.
Yep. So you've got a boat that's basically an ironclad. You've got a fantasy beastman chopping off the head of a fantasy Chaos Warrior. You have what looks to be a Nurglite-style Dark Mechanicum guy in the bottom corner next to a guy who could either be a Plague Marine in a helmet that he's found on a fantasy warrior, or a fantasy warrior himself, with a collection of heads from all over the spot.
Yeah, to be honest, the horned guy at the top could just as easily be an orc as well.
Yeah, actually. I can see where you're coming from there. Yeah.
But I very much like the fact that it's an old school style boat, but we've riveted the hell out of it, and it's not tied up by rope, but it's tied up by cable.
Yep.
It's just the attention to detail.
It's brilliant. It's genuinely 10 out of 10. No notes. I love it.
So, but your Beastman's basically just saying, "Rah, who's next? Who else wants to step up and see if they've got what it takes to win safe passage out of here?" But it's like, why not just leg it now, mate? Because clearly what you're saying is, if you kill me, you get past. Then you don't get safe passage. Fucking idiot. Call up that motherfucking gangplank and get the fuck.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? If you were sensible about it, you would just get a couple of people to pick up the other side of the gangplank and then just throw the beastman into the water.
Yeah.
That would be the sensible option. I'll just set fire to the boat.
Yeah.
Oh man, but yeah, I love that as an opening page. It's so good. And then
Yeah.
Beastman continues with this amazing.
Only a few berths left, and the armies of Lord Corn are almost at the gates. Blood for the blood god, remember. Let the weak die, but the strong can still survive. Not much time
So
left.
before you go on to the rant, let me pause there.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so the armies of Corn are at the gates. Blood for the blood god. Cool.
Yep.
Remember, let the weak die, but the strong can still survive. So basically what you're saying is, leg it, and that makes you strong. Fuck off, you Weasley prick.
Oh man.
That's not strong. That's sensible. And had you put sensible, I'm on board with your speech.
Well, I think it's it's the cornate, it's the chaos way of being a sensible retreat, isn't it? It's the strong can survive, and we'll all get out of here, and then we'll come back another day and fight a bit more.
But it's like who? But again, it's like who wants to challenge me and win themselves one last chance to live? You're like,
So good. I
yeah,
love
but
it.
also so incredibly stupid.
Yes, that's why it's so good. It's nonsensical, moronic logic, and it's beautiful. It's so bang on the money for how something like this would work. It doesn't make sense. It's stupid. It's brilliant. I love it. Yes, you get the Marines hiding in a. I mean, that's Mordheim. It's the city of the damned they're in, basically. Bad enough that we have to cover up our chapter markings, but just must we suffer listening to this as well? Agreed, brother captain. I know we must conserve ammunition, but just one well-aimed bolter shell be too much to ask. And of
Before
course,
Leonatus can say anything, it's like another space marine appears behind them. It's like bring down a tide of enemies down upon you. I admire your spirit, brave Sergeant Tranio, but brother Captain Leonatus' caution is well founded. Here on Eidolon, death is easy to find. Truth is far more elusive and far more valuable.
Emperor's Oath, a dark angel. And
It's nice that he can tell from that without looking at him.
yep. Well, I mean, it's obviously their Space Marine sense was tingling.
I would have moved that bit of dialogue to the third panel and just have it going off screen,
Aye.
rather than Leonatus having eyes in the back of his fucking head.
So I quite like the fact that the speech bubble starts in the one panel and then moves through to the next panel for when you see the Dark Angel's face. It's. I don't disagree with you, but I quite like it.
It's like, you needed to. It doesn't track just because of the staging of it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's like, no, you're looking at the back of them.
Once, perhaps, but no longer. I am Hernoth, the damned, and I serve no master but myself. I smell the stench of renegade about this one, brother captain. Let me deal with him. Ah, the ever-impetuous brother Cloten. Be patient, Leonatus. I promise I won't cause too much damage to your pet attack dog. Thwack.
Aye.
It's so cool. You get the close-up of the Marine's face, which has a certain Native American feel to it. Not massively, but it's kind of there. and then you pan out and you see how chaotic his armor's become, and it's ooh, that's cool. Now, the downside, of course, is that you wouldn't look at him and go, "Oh, you're a Dark Angel." Would
aside
you?
from the one, yeah, aside from the one little icon on top of the skull,
Yeah.
which you can only see close up, which probably makes sense if he's in the Eye of Terror.
Mm-hmm. It's I do like the Cloten's entire. I smell the stench of renegade about him. Really, what gives it away?
Yeah, it's like I can see the stench of renegade on him with those with that backpack.
Yep.
They're just wronging.
It's a wonderful moment. Yeah, so the what's he called? Harloth.
Yeah, and he basically just puts his boot to
Cloten.
and then just pops the. You can see the teeth of the axe just there as Leonatus just says to hold your fire.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned the name, Eidolon. Is that the name of the world? Oh, so you'd rather parley than fight. A wise choice. Yes, this is the phantom world of Eidolon. Even here within the Eye of Terror, Eidolon is unique. An entire world and everything on it, existing as nothing more than mere prizes to be fought over by the powers of chaos. Everything, Leonatus, including you and your brethren. Explain, renegade! And the Space Marine way of getting answers, of course, comes out, where you just point a gun at the person you're asking questions to. Gullible Leonatus, your ship was destroyed in the warp. How do you think, then, you came to be here? Do you think it was the Emperor who saved you from the fury of the Maelstrom? Do you think the blessed Sanguinius was watching over you? Think again, brother captain. The powers of the warp reached out to find you and bring you here, and they did so for a reason. Eidolon is ruled by 4 demon princes, chosen champions of each of the powers of chaos, and these champions wage unending war on each other, the very face of the planet warping to match the patterns of their victories and defeats. But they grow bored of fighting over the same spoils. The port has changed hands 1,000 times and will do so 1,000 times more, and so they seek new prizes to compete for new diversions to entertain them. So we get a wonderful piece of storytelling. The full exposition happens with absolutely gorgeous bits of art to go alongside it. The everything from the ship exploding and the Marines falling into space, seeing the battles taking place, where you have all these wonderful different eras of Games Workshop chaos just battling each other. And that's such a nice touch, see all these different types and different eras all at once. Yeah. And then the picture of the brothers, and oh my god, that's how you do it.
Yeah, and you've got the two of the champions, and then whatever Chaos Prince is at the back, sort of in smoke and silhouette and fire. It's like,
yeah, that's the good stuff there, isn't it? Like, that is just
Tellingly is probably this chaos is as Moorcockian as you will get.
Yeah,
it's hammering home at the pointlessness and the futility of chaos on its own.
Yeah,
that's what it just descends into, pointlessness.
Yeah, it's action for action's sake rather than in.
They turn on themselves, so there's no purpose, and they just do things for the sake of doing things. But as I say, they grow bored fighting over and over for the spoils, but the port has changed hands 1,000 times before and will do so 1,000 times again. But it's the interesting thing about both Chaos and Order, if you look at it from the Moorcock point of view, is in which he hammers home, is that there's a stagnation to both. There's no new ideas. They can't do anything new. Anything new has to come from outside.
Mm-hmm. Hey, and I love it when chaos gets described and explored in this kind of mindset. The chaos is this mutable, ever-changing experience, but it needs outside influences in order to be chaos. If it is just by itself, it will just whittle itself down until nothingness.
Yeah, it just changes, and it changes and changes, but in the most reductive way possible.
Yeah, it's entropic. It will just continuously shrink the circle, and that's all chaos can ever do. It needs to have a constant freshness. There needs to be a travelator of new ideas and new people coming into it. Otherwise, it will end up just burning itself out.
It doesn't generate its own.
No,
it's basically AI slop.
I would agree with you, but that no, I like chaos.
No, but the point holds true though, in that
no, absolutely.
If you think about it, it's effectively an LLM. It's been trained on this stuff, and it can only, without anything new, it just regurgitates the same slop over and over again.
Yeah. No,
you feed it more, it changes and does something different. Feed it more, it changes something different, but it can't create anything of its own.
No. All it can ever do is just spew back up what it's already been fed.
It's regurgitated half variations of what's come before. So no, the chaos is AI slop.
Yep, I'm with that. That's is that why the Emperor decreed no AI?
See, he knew. He knew.
He saw it. He saw it happen.
He lived through Sam Altman's pish the first time round.
That's true, yeah. Yeah, the Emperor is currently walking around us now, getting pissed off at Grok. So yes, the Dark Angel continues that, they offer bait to make the game more interesting. The blade in Carmine is here, Leonatus. Find it, complete your blood quest, and you will be allowed to leave Eidolon. I assure you, there is no other way off this world, save by the whim of its demon prince rulers. So, there we go. We've got a backstory for the world, and now we have the full idea of what the quest is going to be and where we're going. It's not just getting off the world, you have to get the blade in Carmine.
Which they were going for anyway, so it just happens, it nicely dovetails and says, if you get it, you'll be fine. And it's like, lies, brother captain, who would believe the promises of demons or trust the word of this renegade scum? And he's like, this is a world of the damned, and I have been trapped here too long for my soul to have survived untainted. All I seek now is a chance to help those who were once my Space Marine brothers to escape the same fate. Then where is the blade in Carmine, renegade? On the other side of this world, in the citadel of the last and the mightiest of the demon princes of Eidolon. To reach it, you must travel through the lands of each of the powers of chaos, starting with the Blood Sea, which marks the start of the territories of the Champion of Tzeentch. Head towards the Black Sun, Blood Angel. That is the direction in which the end of your quest awaits. So there's questions to unpack, but we'll come to this at the end, because so we're back to soon, and we're back to low IQ Beastman.
What do we have here? More challengers. Eager to taste the bite of my axe blade, man whelp. See if you've got what it takes to get past me.
With pleasure, chaos filth.
Slutch.
Taken out like an absolute no mark.
Yeah, just...
It's probably just like, get fucked.
Yep. You, my friend, are doomed. You have been absolutely ruined. Yeah. And slutch is a really good sound effect.
Yep. And it's like, the ship is now under my command. My brethren here will be glad to explain the situation to any still loyal to the previous captain. Everyone just kind of looks about and go, at that point, like, nope, no questions.
No complaints. Well, we're casting off and putting to sea without any further delay. Next, Sea of Blood.
Yeah. So and they're watched. They're watched by Heroth the Damned.
I do like those last two panels. Just the infinite sadness of them.
Or potentially, the big thing here is we have the big trope in any sort of fantasy style, any sort of story with fantasy or quest linings, the random guy that turns up with information to explain your quest.
Yes, that's
who are always the very dictionary definition of unreliable narrators with questionable motivation. So you're asking right off the bat, and given it's a nice point with a Dark Angel is and I don't know whether it's deliberate or not, is he a fallen from back in the day, or is he just a Dark Angel that's got trapped here? For there's no dialogue about it, because obviously he's not going to spill his secrets if he's a more modern Dark Angel.
No. I don't know. I mean, there's also a third option. Is he even a Dark Angel? Is he something else entirely? Because his entire point here is to start the process of getting them moving.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm intrigued. I'm very much intrigued.
I would imagine the likelihood is he probably is a Dark Angel, just because it's an odd choice to make.
Yeah.
You could be anybody, but why a Dark Angel? And there's not enough that you can see about the pattern of the armor to effectively determine what area he comes from.
No, I mean, he does have the Heresy Mark shoulder pad, but then he's not the only one. Yeah, that's something that's turned up quite a lot through Blood Quest.
If he's trapped there long enough, he'll have had to scrap and scramble.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, once again, Blood Quest just hits it right out the park. Like, even though it's not an issue that does a huge amount other than kind of get things moving forward. But it
gets some questions out of the way, so you know, and provides a bit of direction. Because one of the big things, because again, Blood Quest is a fetch quest, but it's unlike, say, Darkblade, which we bitch at non-stop. Is Darkblade very much feels like, while there's an overall goal, he just seems to lurch from bit to bit to bit, where there seems to be a lot more precision and direction in Blood Quest than has been from the start.
Absolutely.
And here, you had the problem is, we're in this random world of the Eye of Terror. That had the potential to derail that and fall into that kind of Darkblade thing of, what are we encountering next on this world?
Yeah.
Which, in and of itself, is not a bad thing, because that's how you expand and the mythology of it. Like, to pull a 2000 example, take two fingers if you're drinking every time I mention a 2000 story. When they introduced Rogue Trooper, they kind of gave you the big theme of the backstory, but you would get little details as he moved through the planet in the first sort of the first Dave Gibbons stories.
Mm-hmm.
It was still kind of you knew he was going for the Traitor General, but you're getting bits of the world and the lore expanded. So this is so it can be done. Again, Rogue Trooper does it well. Darkblade, not so much. But here Rennie's went, no, there's a clear through line for this story. You're going to find out there's no dithering.
Yeah.
Clearly they will have to encounter all these various bits to get where they need to go. So you'll still have that mix of fetch quest kind of trappings, but you know there's a purpose to it, rather than just, who am I encountering next? And I think you kind of have to for Space Marines as well, because they're not. I don't find that any time that anyone tries to do fiction with Space Marines, but that puts them a little bit directionless or rudderless, it just rings false.
Yeah, they would always have some form of plan
and focus.
Yeah.
Even if that focus was just to survive something, they're inherently creatures of structure.
Yeah. They would always have forward momentum. Yeah, there would never be a point where they sit around and spend 3-4 days working out what to do next. I've just realised, after they chopped the bull gore's head off, one of the Marines just shoots the guy with a whip. Just the ship is now under my command. My brother in it. He will be glad to explain the situation to anyone still loyal to the previous captain. Bang, bang, bang! Just shoots the guy with a whip.
Yeah. I hope he gets chastised for that, because he's basically a man in pants.
Yeah, it's just.
It's basically, do you want a tubby stripper He-Man? I've got your sexy barbarian time.
I've got your sexy barbarian time. The armor for the guy behind Mr. Tubby here is. Look at that. Oh, God, look at that armor. That is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Oh.
Again, as we've kind of, to go back to what I said, Colin McNeil's an artist who has, in terms of his art, has 4 distinct styles that he's deployed over the years. There's fully painted stuff, which he still does. But in terms of his black and white, he had the style of Blood Quest Book 1, this for Blood Quest 2, and I think 3, and some other stories. But he also has a black and white stuff that he deploys recently, which is kind of much more heavy spotted blacks, so closer to what he did in part 1, but more blacks.
Okay.
Kind of more Mignola influence. So again, it's just as artists go on, they evolve, and also certain stories suit certain styles. So
yeah. Ooh, I'll have to look into that one, because that'll be nice.
But yeah, it's a case of his art's he's one of these artists that just, you can't ever accuse him of phoning it in.
No, absolutely not.
And that's it.
No, I mean, it's one of those things where I could very easily get stuck in just sitting here and just loving everything I'm seeing here, and spending all day just talking about how nice the art is. But that can only go so far in an audio medium. I recommend just go and look it up, because it is stunning.
If you want to see Colin's work, my recommendations are Chopper, Song of the Surfer, America. I am partial to this. If you want to see more of this, Insurrection, again with 2000 alumni Dan Abnett. And his more modern stuff is just any Dread. He's not really done huge series with that, but he's been in heavy rotation on Dread doing it.
Okay.
But those are where you can. The old Dread reprints from Hachette had some of his other black and white from Shimura. Is also a couple of years before this, but closer to Blood Quest issue 1. But that's where you'll find that. But yeah, go seek it out. Brilliant.
Yeah, agreed.
And was one thing to go back to the Dark Angel. Interesting that he's got a chain axe.
Yeah.
Which
isn't a usual. No doubt.
No, it's not one you would have. I mean, you can always take them. It is a legal loadout in the Codex. It's like, it's not one you would have.
Which is why I'm wondering how much of a Dark Angel is he actually? But
well, like I say, if he's fallen to chaos, which he hasn't said, he didn't. He kind of weakly said he was trapped and he's just helping people. But it's like, are you really?
No. I don't believe him. Don't trust him in the slightest.
I mean, will we see him later on again?
I think so.
I hope so. And we'll get a bit of an explanation as, are you, like I say, are you one of the fallen?
How good would it be if he turns out being like the dungeon master to these guys going forward? Yeah. He just keeps turning up and saying, adventurers.
That is the problem. For those of an age, the Dungeon Master in the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon puts a lot of stank on characters in fiction who do this, because you just I do blues.
That's where the best Dungeons and Dragons episode of that cartoon is the Dragon's Graveyard, where he turns up. The ancient king of blah 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 is not cut the shit. We want to kill Venger. What?
Yeah.
You want to do what now?
Yeah, let's super our weapons and fuck this guy up.
Oh, I love that episode. I'm procrastinating because I don't want to get into Darkblade. So, Darkblade, Book 2, Part 6, Story Without End. So we pick up from where we left last time with Darkblade is trapped in the Forever Night City. Speaking of Murkockian concepts, this is very much in the realm of Murkock. Darkness engulfs him, and the servants of the night reach out to make him one of them. From House Darkblade, there is no prospect of sunrise to release him, no hope of escape at all. Unhand me, vermin! I will not go willingly into your endless void. Matron. By the Witch King, why won't you die? We have long since left death behind, Malice. Join us and leave the curse of life behind. If death is the only escape, then I would welcome it. Malice fights his way through, but these are not real people. These are the shadow people. And so as a result, choking them and stabbing them with a sword doesn't seem to do a huge amount. The only possibilities I ever saw were victory or death at the hands of a demon. Not this worthless doom. Ah, you will come to love the endless night, Malice. We are all afraid at first, but the ritual is painless, a simple incarnation to make your soul one with ours. My soul? Well, I am beaten and broken. Do what you have to do, because Malice, of course, his soul, he doesn't have it. The demon took his soul, and this means that all of these ghosts get electrocuted by fire. It's the only way to describe what happens to them. Curse you, Malice, curse you! I've been cursed far better than you. Go, Spite, go. Giant skull appears in the sky, and the city of forever night goes fadumph. Never thought I'd be pleased to see the sun again. Now, the guiding orb. That foul prince let slip that Zarkin led dwelt beyond the crags of fire and ice. So it is there I must go if I am to reclaim my soul. Perhaps in the light of day I can see my way to... Oh. Next issue. Blind. So, yeah.
To be fair, it's probably the first time in a long time that Darkblade's evidenced a little bit of wit.
Yeah, I do quite like the I've been cursed better than you.
Even just the fact that he kind of clearly knows they're after his soul.
Yeah.
So I'll stop fighting. It won't gain me anything. And then the minute it's like, oh, we'll take your soul. That's fine. This is not going to go well for you.
No, it doesn't. Yeah, I would say this is probably the second best Darkblade story that we've had.
Yeah. The faint praise damning is at level 10.
It really is, because once again, yes, Malice uses the fact he has no soul as a way of trapping them all in order to win. But once again, it's Malice wins because Malice has to win. Yeah, the constant lack of actual threat that he's under is infuriating.
Yeah. It's the fact that technically they were a threat to begin with, but then it's undermined, which isn't a huge problem. It wouldn't be a huge problem normally if we just hadn't been treated to months and months of like dealing with no threats.
Yeah. And the orb is it's all cracked and broken. So, yeah. Now, the very end of this, when it said, now in the light of day, I can see my way to, and then next, blind. It took me a second because he's got tiny little pupils. Is he actually blind? But he can't be actually blind because he knows where Spite is, and he would have noticed that he was blind.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's blind because the orb's broken.
I think that the problem with it is, and it's partly to do with the art, is he's holding the orb, but it looks almost like he's only holding part of the orb, and that's an image within the orb, just because of the halo effect that's around it.
Ah.
I would have, because again it's cracked and broken, but you've got the light bleed on it from the white around it. It's like it should have been all, and then no, you can. It's quite clear it's just the orb is broken.
Yeah, it was a bit hard to kind of work out what was actually happening at the very end of the story.
Yeah.
Art's nice. The art's really nice. You know, there's a bit of like a thicker pen or something happening in this one than there has been. I don't know. But it works. It works for me. I like it. There's a nice big skull. Yeah. I'm running out of positive things to say here.
It's more just there's again there's so little to say based on the fact that the story has so little meat to hang on
Yeah.
because unlike things like Blood Quest or Titan Demonofuge where there's stuff you want to speculate on or potential, there's nothing that you're looking at in the future other than he's going to find Zarkan eventually.
Yeah.
But that's it.
Yeah, he's going to find
That's
Zarkan.
it's such a limited story.
Yeah.
And
This is the thing, though. This is going to end, and it's really hard to get this out from underneath this concept. He's going to find Zarkan, and then something's going to happen, and he'll either get his soul back, but Zarkan gets away, or Zarkan gets away with his soul, and we get the next book. Because I seem to remember there's a third book, but I'm now past the point of caring about Darkblade, and that sounds because we've been quite negative on it for so long, but I can't even. I find it hard to engage with Darkblade, is the best way I can put it, because it's just there, and I want to skip through it. My attention wandered when I was reading this last night. My attention wandered on it completely, and I had to go back and start it again because I just want to get to the next stuff.
Yeah, it's a lovely looking story strip, as we've always said, but it's just there is so little to hang it on.
Mm-hmm.
And again, we've now had charitably more than 60 odd pages of Darkblade material by now.
Yes.
I couldn't tell you a thing about him.
No.
The character of Darkblade, other than he's an arse.
Yeah, he's a Darkblade.
He's a competent warrior.
Yeah, he's got a really nice, cool mount that does fun things.
But there's no character to this guy at all.
No. And it's not even like the arrogance and the alienness of the Dark Angel isn't coming. Of the Dark Angel, sorry, of the Dark Elf isn't coming across. There is just nothing. He's a collection of cliches and tropes, and that's it. There's nothing else to him. There's no subverting of those tropes. There's no playing around with the ideas or the concepts. He's just there, and he's a character that has been done to death 1,000 times, and often so much better.
Yeah, as we said initially, like the go-tos are easily, say, in terms of sort of fantasy, looking at Dritz, Duarden.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of that, it's clearly it's Elric, Vampire Hunter D.
Yeah, but even
pick anybody.
the D from Vampire Hunter D has things to hang on. You know, as much as he is a cipher for the rest of the story to happen, he does have moments of peril and let's just move on, because I don't want to just keep kicking it. It's there. I'll be glad when Darkblade is no longer in the issues.
Yes, so we'll move on to after it's a couple of issues absence. Inquisitor is back. Yay! Again from Dan Abnett. So which again to highlight, it's the same writer as Darkblade.
Yeah, I know.
Simon Colby and Gordon on art, with Gordon Robson on the lettering. So we're on chapter 7 of book 1 of the Taint of Nicodemus.
Yeah, the final taint, the final look at the taint. This is
it's not the final taint. We've got, I think, at least one more installment, maybe 2.
Yeah.
So there's more taint to come, folks. So if you're into the taint, don't worry. There's still more in the future.
Yeah, eyes wide open for the taint.
Yeah. So we've got Defay and Gravier are on mounts. They're heading back. As Gravier narrates it, it's like our quest to purge chaos taint from an aristocratic bloodline on the planet Nicodemus took us up into the forests of the Tail range that winter. These once wild reaches were said to be tamed and welcomed to the climber, botanist, or hillwalker, and the legendary Kurg was now extinct. ... What does that tell you?
The
horrible beast moving towards them tells me that I think that could be a Kurg.
I think that's probably a Kurg, and this the tail line range is the Lake District. So that's all I'm reading from that. It's welcoming to the climber, the botanist, to the hillwalker. I have questions about the 40k versions of the hillwalker and climber. I desperately want to know more about who goes on holiday to go hill walking in the 40k
Well,
universe. I'm
if
in.
it's not like a proper, the one thing to notice about this isn't really a hive world.
No.
So you probably, I mean, I imagine this is probably one of the few worlds in the Imperium where you could be a hill walker. I imagine if you're to go to, if said person was to go on some kind of exchange to Necromunda and go, I'm going to go hill walking, they'll go, the what?
Yeah, all the hills got flattened by
What's a
nuclear
hill?
weapons.
Yeah. So the Kurg pounces on the Inquisitor, taking out his mount.
His Raptor Brontosaurus, which is an amazing looking beast.
Yeah. Some big lizardy sausage dog. And so as it pounces on him, he's like, it's like Gravier pulls out the gun. It's like, get back, master, I'll distract it. At which point he's told by Defay, the tail, Gravier, watch out for the tail. And he watches as the tail twats his mount and throws him off. So he does watch. He is listening to you, Inquisitor Defay. He is perhaps not moving on and interpreting the next steps he should take.
I do like the this way. Hiya! Look at me.
Yeah. And then
I
he
just realised one of the reasons why I don't like the Wayne England cover as much, because Gravier's hair is completely different. Gravier is very, very off-model on the cover. Ah, it's just hit me there. Sorry, I'll let you continue.
That's right. So he just so Defay leaps up, sword at the ready. He's like, "Come on, you wretch!" And it's the panel's a bit of a mess just because there's the bleed from the one behind it. But he's basically his chainsword bites through the head of the Kurg, and he's now on top of it, riding it and burying the sword into its back again. Very nicely done.
Yeah, but I like the black and white silhouette panel. That is, that's lovely. That's real lovely stuff. But I'm with you because you've got the sword going into the Kurg, but you've also got Defay behind the panel and his hand in front of the panel, and it just doesn't quite work.
No.
But experimentation, you know.
Yep. It's a minor quibble. So, like I say, he kills the Kurg, and he's like, a Kurg master. I thought they were extinct, or so few and so timid of man that they are never seen. See here, the beast would have left us alone were it not for that rage and juicer woven into the back of its brain.
There we go. There's the 40k moment.
Yeah, you see a nice little box with a cluster of wires buried into the back of the creature's brain.
It's like the Butcher's Nails, like an early version of the Butcher's Nails, which, as this is Dan Abnett, I wonder if that's where he gets the idea of the Butcher's Nails and continues this idea forward.
Oh, it's not an uncommon trope in SF in terms of implants in people's brains to make them do things.
No. It's just because it's a 40k thing, and it's Dan Abnett, and Dan Abnett came up with the entire idea of the Butcher's Nails. I found it interesting. It was set hit guard, says Gravier. Board least make these woods unwelcoming to travellers. I say we are closing in our prey. Come along, the Kurg may be rare, but they hunt in prides.
Wander along through the forest, and they find, a nice little building, which again, as we kind of talked about, is kind of your old school Hammer Gothic cathedral-y style building with science fiction bits grafted onto it, and a kind of to show obviously this is a world that's evolved on its own outside of the dark age of technology during the Age of Strife, and has concessions to the modern 40k.
Yeah. Have you experienced a series on Netflix called The Hollow?
I have not.
It's an animated series. I recommend it. It's very good. Me and my son have gone through it maybe 3 times now. It's quite good. It's lost but good and for kids. But they come across a building that's an old Victorian style mansion stroke French steampunk, and it very much reminds me of how they've designed this building. With you got the Art Deco of 40k with the rounded Art Nouveau look, and it's yummy. Love that.
Please tell me the show in question isn't steampunky all the way through.
No, it's like it hits different biomes, so each episode's a different area of this mystery world.
Right. You know my feelings on steampunk, the laziest bit of science fiction currently.
Yeah, well, I mean, the episode where they come across the mansion, it's more to do with like French shadow men rather than steampunk.
Excellent.
So it's that kind of feel rather than, steampunk, which is just put cogs on things and say it works.
I know, but fucking boils my piss.
Actual steampunk, like stuff like the Indifference engine, is great.
Or Nemesis, the Warlock's Gothic Empire,
Yep.
Murkoch's Bastable.
Yep. There's lots of good steampunk out there. It's just the fact that unfortunately it has become a byword for lazy design and even lazier storytelling.
Yep. So they get near the building, but it's like by then the pack are sent. So we've got another silhouetted panel which has two more of the Kurgs. Beautiful panel.
Yeah, gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous.
So Defay's shooting at them and telling Gravier to get the door open, and he's saying it's locked, and it's like, no wonder. It's like, have you tried, Doc? And it's like, at which point Defay just turns his impressively double-barreled weapon round and just blows a hole. It goes, now it's open.
That's the way to do it. That's the way you open a door.
Yep. And it's like they get inside and then they're looking for storm shutters just so they can close the door, protect them from the Karg, which they do, who are now clawing at the door, unable to get in. And Defay's had enough of this shit.
He's sick of the taint.
Yep. Tomax Marquis of Tayline, show yourself. I am Inquisitor Defay, charged by the throne of Terra itself to cast light in the darkness. Don't make me find you.
That's good stuff. That's such a great line. An Inquisitor? You are an Inquisitor? Merciful stars, if I'd realized I would have subdued the Kirkbride. 1,000 pardons, I thought you were bandits. When I'm done with you, you may wish we had been. Do you know why I'm here, Marcus Tomax? Of course. The taint.
The family curse.
That man is a man who knows too much about the taint.
Yeah, it's like, you see, Inquisitor, I have nothing to hide. Then we get the revelations, like, 20 years ago I discovered that chaos had infected my family line. I submitted myself to the authorities at once and underwent many tests and examinations. And Defay's reading like, these documents bear the Imperial seal. They confirm your story. You've been tested. You are free from the taint. Then why hide away in the mountains? Why the savage pack of guard animals? Why do you make every effort to shun the outside world? The shame, the fear. The rest of my family would not submit to the test as I had done. They wanted the secret kept hidden. They said they could deal with it. They threatened to silence if I refused. I took the matter to the highest authority and was told it would be dealt with. In the meantime, I fled here in fear of my life. I knew my family would come for me if they learned I had betrayed them. And now you come here telling me nothing was done, no investigation was made. I've hidden myself away for years and borne the shame of family betrayal for nothing. About right?
Yep. And then you get it. Then you get the bit.
Yep.
Who in authority did you tell of this Marquis? Who was it you trusted to cleanse your bloodline? The Cardinal himself.
Sarthos.
Ah, there it is.
Yes.
That's what we've been waiting for. I mean, it's such a good reveal. It's such a good reveal. This poor bastard's just been hiding up here for so long, and it's all Sarthos' bastarding fault.
Yeah. So Graveyard's like, fuck. And Defay's like, we're getting the capital now. I'm taking one of your cars.
Of course. Zoom! The Inquisitor did not speak as we began the return flight. I did not know if it was because of the great depth of the conspiracy that now yawned before us, or if it was because he knew what Marquis Tomax, whose honour had led him to betray his own blood for nothing, would have to do once we had left. And he is... It's suicide by Kirk.
Yeah.
God damn. This is... Oh!
Like, see, Dan Abnett? See what you can do when you try?
Yeah, holy crap. This installment, it does so much for me. You know, you have the little action sequence with the Kirks, you make sure you got an action sequence. Then you get the awful sadness of Tomax, who is just,
Basically, the moral of the story is it does not pay to do the right thing in the universe.
No.
Was it no good deed goes unpunished?
Absolutely. It's like, God damn. This poor bugger has been, he removed himself from civilization for 20 years for nothing. And the only way he gets to find peace is by being ripped apart by his own guard animals. God damn. And then you get the incredibly timed, beautifully orchestrated reveal that Sarthos is the big bastard. This is the good stuff. Get this into my veins because it is brilliant.
We're now on our way to a reckoning. So
yep, on our way to the final taint.
I mean, as I said, the thing about that hampers a lot of the story, that's hampered most of the stories in Warhammer, is the lead characters are generally not that interesting. But thankfully, with Sarthos having been a recurring presence as although we didn't know it, he's the main antagonist.
Yeah.
Has elevated the story, because I think without that, it's again, I see that the problem we've got is we had a couple of moments with Defay which show that there's a rounded character there rather than just your typical Inquisitor who will scourge everything by fire.
Yep.
So there's a bit more at play with Defay, not a huge amount, but more substance than we've had for many of the characters. But we've actually had a worthy adversary.
Yeah. No, absolutely. But I think that the strength of Inquisitor doesn't come from the two main characters. They are there to experience everything alongside the reader. What comes from it is these wonderful background characters and guest appearances. Sarthos being, of course, the best of them because he's amazing. And also a wrong-un. But, Tomax here, the different members of the family that we've come across.
The imprisoned son who was free of the tape.
Absolutely.
So again,
everything comes from the environment and the long-standing background story that we have walked into. There is a bigger story at play here, and we're only seeing the parts of it that Defay interacts with.
Yeah.
And it gives it such a strong narrative that every installment of this has, at the very worst, has been good.
Yeah. Again, it follows. It's still again the basic fetch quest template.
Yeah.
But it shows what's done when you've got, let's say, rich characters, but you've also got proper jeopardy, which again is because you've got the trappings of chaos at the heart. Ultimately, 1-on-1 Inquisitor versus chaos wins.
Yes. Yeah.
Inquisitor have to be better organized or lucky to get the win.
Yeah.
So he's got an uphill battle, which is where you contrast it with Darkblade, who we met his adversary in the very first issue, but there was nothing to that. There was no stakes really.
No.
It's I'm inside you, but I'll get you if you get these 5 things. But there's no consequences for the demon being inside of him.
No.
Like no debilitation. Like, why didn't your flesh corrupt or things like that?
Yeah, well,
Like,
why are you not being made weaker by it? Why are you not,
yeah, just things like that. It puts me in mind of what was the old sort of Stan Lee aphorism, which they would say, which again, given he didn't always do all of the work with treatment, but he would always kind of, if it's a weakness, try and play on it.
Mhm.
Like, if he's bringing back when Captain America got brought back, it's like, yeah, but he's a fuddy duddy from 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Make that central to what we're doing.
No, absolutely, absolutely. But I think the biggest difference between Inquisitor and Darkblade is Inquisitor feels like the idea was mapped out before the strip started getting made. You know, I think it feels to me that Abnett knew where this was going to go, how this was going to play out, and was able to work within the confines of the concept he'd come up with. Darkblade just feels like, well, what we're going to do this week for him. Yeah,
Possibly, because speaking for myself, is provided you've got an end point in mind for your story, and you should always have the end in mind.
yes,
You don't need to map out exhaustively, because as you write the story, it will change anyway. Because that always happens.
Yeah.
So you don't need to be rigid. You generally, if you're doing I mean, you can be, and there are certain people who are like that. They need everything mapped out specifically. It's like wrestling. Randy Savage used to map out move for move
Mm-hmm.
every match. A guy like Ricky Steamboat would just call it in the ring.
Yeah.
It's like we know where our finish is. We'll get to it.
Yeah.
And we'll build it. We know what we're doing. So there's definitely, but again, I think as you say, it is more just there is nothing of interest or substance in Darkblade at all.
No.
Whereas here, we've been introduced a couple of characters because Sarthos could have just as easily been in that one issue and then fucked off.
Yeah, he could have been. But what you got was a couple of issues of him tagging along, and you got to see a bit more of his character. Then he went back to his life, and you get this. As I say, I love this reveal. I love how it's done, because the Tomax is such a pathetic little old man.
Just again, like his grandson, who was the only other one free of the taint. It's like, yep, the two that aren't are the most wretched, browbeaten, and wounded ones.
Yep.
And the rest are all now severely wounded because Defay killed them all last issue, but they were all getting along fine.
Yeah. I'm just happy. I'm genuinely happy. I had this fear that Inquisitor was going to go off the rails at some point, but it's consistently been just bang on the money.
Yep.
Love it. Absolutely love it. So yeah. I did not expect this to be one of my favourites, honestly. It's like, oh my god. Yeah, this is the good stuff. This is absolutely the good stuff. Should we continue with some good stuff?
Yes, so we're on to rounding out the issue. We have the first part of Cal Jericho in the Motherlode.
Yeah.
Gordon Rennie on script, art by Carl Kapinski, and letters by Gordon Robson.
Yep. Just another day in the Underhive settlements of Hive Primus. Refugees stream into town from lower levels, fleeing a new series of hive quakes and marauding tribes of scavies. Out in the Underhive wastes, outlaw gangs fight over the rich pickings. Meanwhile, as usual in the Sumphole drinking den, someone is gunning for Cal Jericho. It's a nice little kick-off.
Again, it's another in media res start for a Cal Jericho story.
Yep. You get a full-page spread, and it's Cal Jericho behind a table doing some proper sideways shots. He's going for it OG style. As bullets ting and bam across the walls and the desks and the bottles behind him. Lots of lovely sound effects everywhere. That's a nice starting point.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, lots of action, a lot of movement. Not good, 6 of them. One of them, me. And both my last pistols already running on low charge. Even worse, I haven't finished paying for the last time I got this place shot up in a gunfight. They've got the door covered, and there might be more of them waiting outside. And there's a little sign on the wall that says all breakages must be paid for, as the wall is shredded.
Yep.
Under the circumstances, a degree of invention is called for, as Carl shoots his way out of the wall, throws himself through it. The sump hole belongs to Mama Kess. Mama likes me, if I'm lucky. I might even be able to persuade her not to put out a contract on me. Assuming, of course, I live long enough to work my way back into her favour. He lands in the alleyway, takes out two of the gangers who are trying to get him. Thought I recognised these hive scum. The trademark badge. I lift off one of them, confirms it. They work for Guzman Ludo, merchant, guild trader, buyer and seller of all things rare or illegal, and well-known sadistic maniac. Is Guzman Lud the guy who was in one of the earlier stories, the one that stopped him from getting shot?
No, I think that was another guy. I think.
Yeah. Oh, I wasn't sure, and I haven't had time to.
Because I think the whole point about all these was just showing that he's not in good standing with lots of people.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Not good at all. I should find the current hole in the ground that Scabs calls home, and warm him that. Ack! What you get is a giant mechanical claw, grabs him by the throat, and this absolutely awful looking June motherfucker is holding on to it, is giving the commands, and oh, it's so gross.
In person. Yeah. You remember Vandal Feg, don't you? He certainly seems to remember you. After you recaptured him, I purchased him from his original owners and made him my own personal bodyguard. As you can see, I've made a few adjustments to him. The less brain matter he has, the more brutal he seems to get.
This seems very familiar.
Yeah.
So you get the cyborg who was in the first, I want to say, story, who is proper Mean Machine Angel now.
Yep.
Feg, release him. Another time, Feg, I promise. For the moment, however, Mr. Jericho and I have some important business to conduct together.
So they move off into the Underhive wastes, and he knows that something's not right here. Scabs comes out with, surely it ain't normal to chain up your mates and drag them at gunpoint across the ash waste to certain death. In Lud's case, I'd stake my pistols on it. I seem to recall that most of his business partners had an unfortunate habit of either falling into tox pools or being sold up high for surgical experimentation, or otherwise known as being in Russia. I expect my partners to make me money, Jericho, or I find other ways for them to either profit or entertain me, which brings us to your role in my latest business venture. Just lost the ability to speak there.
The Motherlode. I still can't believe that's what this is all about.
Reading the wrong person. That's fine. The Motherlode. I still can't believe that's what this is all about, because you've shanghaied Scabs and you want to go chasing after a drinking den legends of a lost habdome full of priceless archaeotech.
Feg, discipline him. Nothing too disabling, I'm afraid.
So it turns out that he's had a vision, so to speak. Probably narcotic-fueled. He saw a great cataclysm. He saw the ground split asunder as the hive finally gave up its greatest treasure, and a cavern filled with wonders and marvels beyond counting. The Motherlode, the greatest archaeotech, the lost techno-secrets of the ancients, hidden away for millennia. And he saw Jericho and Scabs there as well, unwitting tools that would guide him to his destiny. The recent hivequakes, of course, were a sign that he was the one to find the Motherlode, and Jericho will be the one to lead me to it. It has all been prophesied. Something wondrous is waiting for us out there in the darkness. Now you say wondrous. I'm seeing something that reminds me of Redeemer, and I don't like it.
Yeah, I'm seeing a spider.
Yeah.
I'm definitely seeing a high spider.
Yep. You hear that, Scabs? How gratifying to know that we're in the hands of a deranged spook addict with severe delusions of grandeur. Yeah, I ain't too happy about that unwitting tool neither. Well, I ain't a spook guzzling fortune teller, but I got a prophecy too. However bad things seem now, I've got a strong feeling they're all going to get a whole lot worse.
You can see a whole host of scavs.
Scabbies and mutants and oh yeah. Karl Kapinski does a good scabby. Look at him. Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's all set up. It is all set up. And I'm going to have to go back to see if that guy in... Because I'm sure that the name of Gutsman Ludd was mentioned by the guy who stopped Jericho getting shot in one of the earlier issues, but I'm going to have to go back and check. It's nice to kind of see these things from earlier one-shots kind of turn back up again. Yeah, it's a nice starting point. All in all, kind of excited to see where this is going. I'm happy with it. It's full of energy. It's full of nice little witty one-liners and things, and it's nice to have a Necromunda story that isn't shit.
Yeah.
And yeah, all in all, I like. I get the feeling you're not as.
It's just because it's as you say, it's all set up. So it's not that I don't like it. It's more just, as I say, I have high hopes that they can do something substantial with Jericho, but it's not a brilliant start. Just because it's look, it's another person of influence who's got one over you, and you're gonna have to do something to get out of it.
Yeah,
it's kind of not hating it. I mean, the art elevates it above bang average.
Oh, absolutely. Kubinski's art is phenomenal.
Yeah,
it's so grotesque.
Excellent. Just let's say the right side of cartoony.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say again, like a more rendery version of a Frank Whiteley, if you're looking for a comparison or a frame of reference.
Yeah,
it's like it has that. Let's say, and again, nobody is drawn heroic.
No,
they look normal or misshapen or deformed. I mean, the closest you get is the couple of Guzman Ludd's concubines are the only ones that have anything approaching kind of an aesthetically pleasing quality, which is it's a nice touch.
Yeah, I think it's horrific because this horrible guy with his triple chin and big pipe that goes into his throat is disgusting. Then having the two women next to his side, I hope, and I don't hold out much hope for this, but I hope something happens where those two get some time to do something, because it's a trope that I'm not a fan of the big ugly horrible guy has two beautiful women at his beck and call. I know historically that is a thing that happened, but
to be clear, it's not so much that he's a big ugly guy. To be fair, big ugly guys who deserve hotties as well. It's a big ugly evil guy.
Yeah,
the evil part that makes it problematic.
Yeah, it's the.
There is also the thing of, again, I'm not sure if we've really touched on it. It's kind of the whole thing about 40k or Games Workshop in general being a boys' club or being seen as a boys' club. We're kind of, aside from Sister Ephriel Stern from Demonofuge, not really been served well for women or
no,
or anything other than elves and blokes.
Yeah, it's something that it's only been in the last 10 years or so that Games Workshop actively worked with. Yeah, it's something that Games Workshop have only recently started to fix, and for a very, very long time, and that's why you see so much pushback against it by people of a certain mentality. The right thing to do, of course, is to fix it, 100% fix it. But it does mean, and I'm being slightly unfair. It does mean that you get moments like this. But to be fair, Games Workshop have also never really pushed into that style of things. You know, they've not really done a huge amount that is, and here is the barely clad woman chained and slaved.
I mean, you're. I'd say the closest you probably get to kind of anything that's kind of in a sort of more cheesecakey way. Probably any of the Dark Elf
Hmm.
illustration. It's probably as close as you'll really have gotten.
Yeah, yeah. But that was always the witch elves, and they were more
Yeah,
waif-like than voluptuous, and yeah, it's actually
but
an interesting thought. One I've not really considered before. Hmm.
but yeah, it is more just as we have talked about before. Representation is important.
It is
If you want
100%.
to make something inclusive, you need to see something of yourself or people like you in it.
Yeah, you need to have a
Uh,
connector. It has to be
yeah,
some kind of connective tissue to you, to the thing that you want to get into.
yeah. I
Mm.
mean, and it's not so much if you have a predisposition to like certain bits of science fiction, what have you, you'll still be drawn to it anyway. But it's more just about reaching out, trying to reach out beyond that,
Yeah, creating
which
that that personal connection, so to
again,
speak.
it's not really been a strength of Games Workshop historically.
No, no, they.
And to be fair, of almost anything like this, any sort of niche hobby, it has very much, partly by necessity, kind of cultivated that kind of, yeah, this is for us.
Yeah, I mean,
And rightly or wrongly, that was the approach pretty much everyone kind of took. It's like, yeah, this is your thing. This is, yeah. Other people don't like it because they don't understand it. They're not interested in it. It's like, well, okay, if so and so doesn't understand it, that's as much a feeling on you as them. It's a
uh,
two-way street.
yeah,
'Cause all you need to look at is anyone. The best example of that is if you look at the Marvel Cinematic Universe. For whether you think good, ill, or what have you about it, is that connected with enough people, and a lot of things in that were lifted from the comic page directly with very little changing.
hmm
So the work could have connected.
absolutely. There, there is very few things in the world that can't be made for a larger audience, without going for the common denominator.
Yeah, not talking LCD pish.
No, no, no.
Yeah, but what you want to be able to do is go. You want this work to appeal to. You want something that can appeal to as much people, as many people as possible. And again, it's why things like if you've got Warhammer as a Warhammer Monthly as an anthology, and we've kind of talked about it, it's like there is a certain sameness to a lot of the work.
Hmm.
Again, part of that is because it, as you can see, it is pretty much written by two people.
Yes. Yeah, you've got Gordon Rennie and you've got Dan Abnett, and anybody else is few and far between.
Fitting in and around it.
Yeah.
But it is one of the things that, like, say, you're looking at it going, yeah, it's like trying to say, and again, it's easy for us to sit 20, 30 years later and talk about it in those things. Very much, no eyelids were batted at this back in the day.
No.
And it's not to say there's anything in here that's offensive or
No. It's just
but it's more just, you can see easily why people were not a lot of people were not drawn to this or drawn to a lot of it.
I think one of the failings of fantasy as a genre for a very, very long time is that it came in two flavors, or was perceived to come in two flavors.
Yeah.
One is token fetch quest, one is Frazetta cheesecake. Right? Now, I'm not saying either of these are correct readings of those two tropes, but that is the common public perception of them. Stuff like Conan would always be seen as being the Frazetta cheesecake stuff, whilst the Conan stories are more like big muscly guy deals with Lovecraftian horrors beyond his comprehension.
Yeah.
You know,
With quite frankly also a very rich seam of homoeroticism throughout.
there's reasons for that, yes.
Oh, but that's the thing is just even sort of looking at 40K is like, I am not being funny, but given Slanesh as a concept,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that should have been that could easily have tapped into and did make connections with people to be doing it. But again, given it's about pleasure and indulgence and hedonism and transgressive behaviour, again, it's basically, how were you not able to cultivate a counterculture audience into that and hit the LGBTQIA group so much earlier?
It's because Games Workshop never really got into it. They never went that far.
Because it's all about, it's a god that's created through rampant hedonism, sensuality, and self-indulgence.
Yeah.
Indulgence. You're not telling me that, again, it's kind of the amount of commonality there with the works of Clive Barker, just to pull an easy name out of the hat, and also because if I didn't say Clive Barker quick enough, George would probably shout when he's listening to this.
It just comes at you swooping out through your window.
Yeah, just like, but it's that you're playing into that side, which has a massive appeal for that group who, if you look at the main characters in most 40k and fantasy, aren't really seeing any reflection in it, because partly because so many characters in that have no sexual identity.
No. Which is funny, because if you take the first 40k novel, Ian Watson's Space Marine, it is rampantly homoerotic. Rampantly. And it always amuses me that in a lot of places that you go, you will see there is no sexuality in my 40k. The first ever 40k book was a load of heavily oiled men rubbing each other. It was there from the beginning. Ian Watson wrote a big gay Space Marine novel, and it is absolutely 100% a big gay book. And
but yeah, absolutely. But again, that goes out of print. It goes away. But you see it in terms of. But I say, and because 40k became the dominant thing, because in fantasy, there's a sexual component when you do. Again, you've got Kim Newman under his Jack Yeovil. I couldn't mind the name. Genevieve books.
Yeah,
it's there, but fantasy kind of does fall a bit. Again, it is a very much a poor second place.
Yes, yeah.
40k is so aggressively non-sexual.
Yeah.
Even Jericho. It's like you see he's similar to Dante, but it's like Dante in 2008 D was an absolute shagger.
Yeah, he was a randy bugger. Yeah,
and there was a joy. The thing is that it was joyful. It wasn't deliberately sort of. It was sleazy in a way that it was intended to be, rather than being for titillation. Right, but it's like, and there was an unabashed joy to it.
Dante was never he was never abusive, and he was never a violent. It was always everybody was well into the idea of getting laid. They were everybody was there.
Very often not. He failed as well because of who was after what stories, but there was a sexual component to it, and again, that whereas this is so, aggressively non-sexual.
Yes, and I think that's why these two concubines are standing out so much.
Yeah,
because outside of a single a Dark Eldar model, which has a pair of concubines attached to one of those big floating barges that they've got in a very Jabba the Hutt way, it's not something that you saw much in any Games Workshop product.
Yeah,
and it's an interesting moment to kind of take a step back and think, actually, because a lot of people outside of the sphere would have assumed that that's what this is. It's going to be big muscled barbarians and scantily clad women. When the reality is, actually, for the most part, there's very little of either.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah. And like I say, it's so, like I say, anything in the 40k is so aggressively non-sexual. It's just, and I don't know whether part of that is also they've got one mind, and W.H. Smith do get very fucking salty about things like that. Doctor Who magazine has the single best cover ever that got so many complaints. Now, if you're aware, there's a story called Trial with Time Lord, And partway through, it's a brilliant story. People might say it's not. They are wrong. But there's in the third of the season-long story, Terror of the Vervoids, there are plant monsters called Vervoids. Now, the Vervoids are basically plant-based humanoids, but the head and face basically has the thing of looking like a vagina and a penis at the same time. It's a thing of great joy. They are beautiful monsters, but there was a close-up of one of them on the cover of DWM, and W.H. Smith went fucking mental because complaints happened from parents going, "What is this filth?"
Yep.
Because the head does look like a glans. It is. Seek it out. Just
It's why SFX kept making sure that they had a somebody in the center of the cover that was tall enough to cover part of the SFX logo. Is because W.H. Smith kept making complaints about it. So once you've got that, it just looks like the F becomes an E, and you've got a magazine just called Sex.
Yeah. But one of the reasons those stance lessened because when Mark Miller, the Coatbridge Edgelord prick, launched his monthly comic / magazine, and he called it Clint.
Yes.
Prick.
Yeah. It's funny. It's funny how at the moment you mentioned Mark Miller, all the air just vanishes out of the room.
Such a absolute arsehole.
Yeah, no, he's no, thank you, not my cup of tea at all. But he did write Streets of Rage, and that was a very good comic.
But to get back, as we were sidetracked with the Cal Jeb, like I say, it's not hugely interesting on part 1, but I'm hoping part 2. I'm not hating it. It's just very much if you're starting your story, it's like, all right. And I think it's also because it starts in media res and then grinds to a halt.
Yeah, actually, that's a good point. It starts off incredibly energetic,
and then stops.
Yeah.
Which, in the context of the wider story, it will then ramp up again. So we know that's how it works. It's kind of your peaks and troughs and what have you.
Yeah. It'll. No, but there's enough here for me to be excited.
Oh, I'm interested.
Yeah.
But like I say, it is more just your. I've read the one-offs have been stronger so far than this. Yeah. All of the one-offs have been better than this first part. However, I will judge it as it goes on. It wasn't unsatisfying, but it's more just because you can't. See, you look back to there was an energy through the one-parters, whereas this one's kind of had the energy. It kind of tails off a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see.
Yeah, absolutely. But it does mean, of course, that at this point in time, there are 3 out of 4 strips in this one, which I'm really, really positive about. So
yeah, obviously, I'm not negative about it. It's just more, there'd be more. But yeah, let's say Darkblade. We're at the point now where it's just it's going to be there.
Yeah, it's there. We'll just get past it as best we can.
Yeah.
But yeah, right now, I am loving where Warhammer Monthly is. It's really, really makes me very happy. So it's a shame then that we're, for the last section of this this issue, we're going to go on to issue 22 very, very briefly, and we're going to burn through this as fast as we can.
Yeah. So Redeemer, the 3rd epistle. Yeah. So it's Pat Mills, David Gallagher, and Wayne Reynolds back for it.
Yeah. Okay, right. Let's just see what we can do to get through this as fast as we can. Cover, of course. Once again, the Wayne Reynolds cover is really nice. It's black and red. Always 2 colours, which are going to make me happy. And the red's often tinged into orange, so
yeah,
nice and it's a nice striking image. The Redeemer could have done with a bit more black around it as a title, but that's nothing I'm going to complain about too much. Yeah. Funnily, the 2 idiots are back in. Next issue, the boys are back in town. Titan returns. Yes, go on. Get me some more Titan. I am all up for that. And then we have Ask Brother Malachi, the Redeemer.
Yeah, so the Redeemer takes over the letters page. Yeah.
There's very little in there, I think, that's worth covering, unfortunately.
Again, because it's the point that you've got, if anyone's doing stuff, they're talking about it, it's in character answers, or just, yeah, blah, get them, yeah, blasphemy, scourge, just... So we're on to the next part. So we have a recap. So the Redeemer and his forces are all that stand between the Collar and the Spire of Hive Primus. So they're about to go to. So Gilder's Gulch defended itself well, according to the Redeemer, and there are only a few ratskins left, so it'll be easy. So you can see there's lots of dead bodies as the Redeemer and his pals come in. His pet ratskin he's given him a sidearm, bizarrely. He's done traitor once.
Yeah. But I think he's also had part of his brain removed since then, which also is not a good reason to give somebody a gun.
Yeah. So at that point, it's like Malakav goes, "Praise be, we love it when the odds are stacked in our favour." And it's like the Collar's now basically, he summons all the Ratskin tribes to come forth for battle, and all of a sudden there are loads of Ratskins. The Redeemer looks slightly annoyed. Everyone else looks slightly pensive / constipated. He then shouts and calls out the Scaly Warriors, so lots of Scalies turn up, and they look. The Redeemer looks even more annoyed. His followers look even more upset. There's a whole bunch of Scalies with various weapons and axes and guns rock up.
And zombies. You get the Scalies and the zombies.
And then he calls out the God of Rats again.
Yeah. Hey, it's you again. Oh, I mean, don't get me wrong, the artwork's gorgeous and the giant zombie rat's amazing.
The best bit of the storytelling is Wayne Reynolds uses the same staging for the panels of the reactions and just tweaking them ever so slightly. Nice bit of work.
Yeah.
It's just, it's great. So there's a tendency in comics, if you're reusing panels, which for effect it can work, but it's always about just tweak them enough that it makes sense rather than just the same panel. Your Pat Lee Dull Surprise, for example, in various Dreamwave comics. But to go back to a conversation as I having before the episode. But
fuck Pat. Fuck Pat Lee.
Yeah. And of course, in the distance, we then see the big shadowy evil spider again.
Yeah. Oh, good God, that is a wonderful bit of illustration. Yeah. You know, credit where credit's due. That thing is awesome.
And at that point, they all shit themselves, and the Redeemer's like, brilliant, proper good fight. At which point, Malakai's like, yes, about that, Redeemer, we've been wondering, that is, the others have been wondering. And the other guy just whispering, just get on with it. Like, wondering what, Malakav, you interest me strangely. Much as we'd all love to die glorious in battle, we're wondering maybe we could reason with the Collar, come to some sort of arrangement with him, that is if he leaves the Spire alone.
No, that it should come to this, that my flock should lose their faith. I have noted your lack of zeal and taken the appropriate steps. See, I have the sacred liberation and unguent, which gives heart to the terrified. This will give you the frenzy of battle, the fire I have tried to instill in you, though it is but a pale shadow of my own righteous wrath. Just what we need, the grapes of wrath. It should be a good joke. It should be.
Again, I think it's partly because if we weren't so having the baggage of Pat Mills can do better, we probably would laugh more.
Yeah.
Because I do like the next bit where it's like sacred libation and urgent. That, hold on, isn't that the deadly drug slot? And he's like, yes, how very astute of you, Malakav. Malakav is like, but aren't there meant to be long-term side effects from taking the drug? Well, yes, but you don't have a long-term, Malakav. It's a nice bit of wordplay with the facials from Wayne Reynolds are brilliant.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Wayne Reynolds is doing the heavy lifting here. Kill.
So it turns them all into frothing zombies. And it's like, the Collar's like, desperate fools, they must know they're doomed, and their craven leader is sent to their deaths because the Redeemer is standing in the shadows, smiling.
Yes, which makes you wonder what his plan's going to be. Then you get an interview by the Emperor. It's Wayne Reynolds again. He talks a bit about
it. Which is just a chat about how he made the Pulpitech, and you see his version of it, which is very nice.
It's very cool. It's very, very cool.
And he just basically just talks about what bits he did.
Can you tell the? Do you know which bit I got most excited by from this entire interview? It's the question. So, is there anything you'd like to model or see modelled? Yeah, loads of stuff. I'd like to see some of the vehicles using Epic 40,000 made for the 40k scale, mainly Eldar, but also some of the Organ Tyranid models. I'd also like to see a range of Skaven made for Warhammer 40k as well. Yes. Why that's never happened, I don't know.
It's odd. It is pretty much.
Yeah, there was.
It does feel like money on the table.
Yeah. Yeah. Big old diesel punk 40k rat people. Yeah. Absolutely. But there was a point where it was going to happen, but then that race became like these weird long-limbed slug people, and they've never really done anything. Can't think what they're called now. Somebody listening to this will send me messages. I'll tell you now. Can't. The hell were they called? Harud. They were called the Harud.
Oh, the Harud. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember them.
Yeah, they were going to be the version of Skaven in 40k, but it never happened. Didn't happen.
Yeah, yeah. So any mention of Skaven gets added, but it's a nice little article. Talks about just sort of the bits and bobs he used to make it. It's not an in-depth tutorial, so don't go looking for that. But it very much feels like it's the back half of the interview that they did before. He's just now finished the pulp. Yeah. So we're on to chapter 10, and we get first page has Malakev with an axe just going through everyone, just and shouting even more like ratskins, scaly zombies, none can withstand Malakev of Necromunda, and he's got his wee Conan moment, standing atop a mountain of dead bodies with an axe in his hand.
I really like just Malakev gets his moment in the sun. That makes me happy. Although
we're
crazed Malakev does look a little bit too much like Billy Kincaid for my liking.
You scream, we scream, we all scream for ice cream. Yeah.
Indeed, yes. I made him scream and scream and scream.
Yeah. So we then cut to Redeemers going, yes, it's going to be a long day, as he's basically fighting through, and his pet Ratskin is attacking the other Ratskins and still shouting the propaganda. As they're all parroting the Redeemer's propaganda. We fear not death. Remember the words of our Redeemer. If it doesn't hurt, it doesn't count. And he gets gut stabbed by a massive spear from a scaly. At which point it's like, that really hurt, so it must count. And again, it's a nice bit of business. And again, Wayne Reynolds doing the Lord's work with the art.
Absolutely, absolutely. That expression is pitch perfect.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And the callers there atop the rat god, he's like ranting and raving. It's a minor setback from the frenzied rabble, but now I summon power immeasurable when I unite Rat God and Spider Queen. Their combined forces will bring us victory. It's like, sounds like a really Poundland Captain Planet.
This is your place, this is your trace. I hold your eye, our foes will die. Oh, look at that spider just chewing someone in half. Oh.
And it's like, so where are you, Great Redeemer? And it's like, and he's just laughing at all his mates, all of them die. He's like, excellent diversion, I found a use for them at last. And he's like, now for the Bloodmare. So he swings down towards the spider, and the caller looks at him and is like, yes, you have a part to play to destroy him, and they just unleash all the guns.
Yes.
And he has obviously reasonable armor of plot convenience, because he can't be evading them all, and then just takes them all out. The Bloodmare protected itself with a psychic energy field generated from her 7 eyes, but our beloved Redeemer anticipated this, and he just lobs a photon grenade.
I mean, rules-wise, in Necromunda, a photon grenade is that's a game ender.
I mean, I'd be interested to see what kind of loadout you'd be able to get for that. So, and given his amount of forces, I don't think he'd have the points for that.
No, I don't think he would. I mean, that the chainsword it's actually got a name, hasn't it? But I can't remember what it is.
Yeah.
That's going to take up the majority of his personal points value.
And the brazier flamethrower thing on his head.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that you aren't getting that. But the photon grenade blinds the spider, and he's like, his eye socket, I can stab into his brain, which he does.
Yep.
Or attempts to, but the energy field's too strong, so he is knocked off to the ground. But his chainsword is still embedded in the spider's skull. And the caller's like, excellent. It's written that the man with head of fire must die if our rebellion is to succeed. It's like, I would always knew it would come to this, Redeemer. This was always my vision. You've been my pawn all along.
Straight into chapter 11. And so, even in my slaught-juiced dementia, I could see my beloved Redeemer had finally met his match. Oh, me of little faith as ever, the Redeemer was resourceful in the face of death, as the Redeemer climbs the spider. Later, I castigated myself for my doubts. The Redeemer climbs the spider and throws a fiery explosion right into the spider's mouth with a wonderful sound.
No, he just clats it with one of his sensors.
Yeah. And you get the amazing little bit of work there from Wayne Reynolds. The explosion is all burning up, all the letters burning up. Oh, it is. Oh, good work there. And
so the Redeemer climbs on the Bloodmare, gets the Eviscerator, and jabs it back into the wound, and he's basically using it as a joystick to control the Bloodmare. And then the collar on the rat god appears, and he takes out the Eviscerator, and they get ready to fight.
Yep.
Very nice full pager. Again, Scourge and Purge. You cannot fight fate, Redeemer. I'm the chosen one. I will set my people free, lead them on the blood exodus to the heights of the spire. Blasphemer, thank the Emperor. I'm here to cleanse you.
Behold, Bloodmare, the eye of power cast off the man of fire. Return to me. She cannot hear you. She's mad with pain, and I can use that. As the spider just starts tearing chunks out of the rat god.
Yeah. Because he's jammed his sword back in and is just piloting it. So and thus it was that the rat god died at the mandibles of the Bloodmare, proving that rat and spider could never be united, and that the way of the redemption is the only true way. And he's like, now to crush your dreams of conquest, Collar. And he's just basically stabbing frantically at the Bloodmare's brain. It's like, her energy field's building, but I can yet destroy her. And it's like the remnants of the Collar's army look on in horror as their goddess expired. Like, fuck.
Well, shit. The Caller promised us victory. He lied.
And as she hits the deck, power erupts and blows away all of the forces, but he's in the eye of the storm, so he's safe from her death fury.
Good for him.
And then it's just, he's got the Eviscerator back up in his hands, and it's just him and the Caller now. It's like, do you have any final words of repentance, Deviant, before you feel the righteous wrath of the Emperor? Repent for trying to bring my people to freedom from tyranny. I would die 1,000 times to save them. Once will be sufficient.
Wait, Redeemer, wait! I, Malakev of Necromunda, will save you. I, Clovis of fast diminishing patience, don't need you.
And it's a nice punch to the face.
Yeah. Ooh, that one looks like it hurts. The fight continues between the pair of them. The losing blood can't hold him back much longer. I do like a good losing blood thought bubble.
Yeah. And it's like, I miss thought bubbles in comics.
Same.
And it's like, so the Caller looms over him with a wee axe in hand. And it's like, it was prophesied that when the man with head of fire falls, the underhigh shall be free. That prophecy can still come true. The Redeemer finds another axe on the ground. And it's like, I have a truer prophecy for you, heretic. When the man with head of fire falls, he is just made more dangerous than ever. And he throws the axe into the Caller's chest.
Yep.
Now I bestow the sacrament of death upon you. Blessed be the Emperor, his will be done. And we have a break for a 3-page interview with Pat Mills.
And it's a nice enough interview. There's nothing really out in here that stands out. The best writer in comics today for the last decade for me will be Frank Miller. Although, if I could read French better, I'd probably mention some horribly obscure French comic. I'm sure we've read that bit.
It's like any comic characters you hate. It's like somebody that's made me aware of my character Martial Law Super Hunter who loves certain superheroes. Okay, all of them and relishes punishing them. I think that gives you a clue. Then proceeds to talk about how it's like, don't be confused by my current Batman Book of Shadows, a graphic novel I've written with Debbie, which is just out. Anyone who reads it will see it's still consistent with our position on the law.
Oh, man alive. It's a what movies inspire you?
The best bit, and I shouldn't laugh, is what do you tell people who'd like to be a comics writer? Any nuggets of choice? Understand the essentials of writing, not just comics alone, and please don't rehash something someone else has already written. Particularly anything of mine. I'm paranoid enough already. When there are enough hacks in this business without any new ones joining. Yes, Pat gets very salty about people doing stuff with his stories.
Yes, he does. He very much does.
Because he does have rights that's why there are no Nemesis and ABC Warriors are slain without him. His contract has it that he has approval on if anyone does stuff. Which is why the only non-ABC Warrior stuff has been written by Alan Moore.
Oh.
Red Planet Blues and there's Old Red Eyes is back in two of the annuals. 84 and 85, I want to say.
Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah, but it also means he got very salty when someone did a series of novels about Rico Dredd's brother, because he wrote The Return of Rico. He got very fucking angry about it.
I mean, that does seem to be the Pat Mills way, unfortunately. Yeah. He's a man with a lot of thoughts.
Again, let's say, on his day, great writer,
But I think a character assassination of Pat Mills would be quite unfair. So.
Oh no, On Balance has done a lot more good for comics than that. And again, I can understand why he's salty. 2008 was his baby, and it's not always been handled the best.
No. There's been big chunks of time where 2008 is horrendously mismanaged.
And there's also the point, again, this is not to say the editors, this is more to do with the people in charge of the book entirely, rather than that. Because I know it's easy for folks to slag off David Bishop, but everyone forgets, Nikolai Dante's his. It was nurse-maided on his watch.
No, absolutely.
And some of the things he's been castigated for were not his decisions; they were taken above his pay grade, such as the film rights, the 2000 AD, it's lads adverts from back in the mid-90s.
The sex issue.
Oh, I think that's pretty much entirely his fault. That's
really?
one on you can have him because he did the Space Girls, and he cops that being the worst thing that 2000's ever done.
Yeah, I mean he's not wrong. The Space Girls was, that was bad. That was yeah, but we won't get into. Maybe if people want it, we'll do a Patreon episode where we talk about the Space Girls. Hint: we're not doing that.
I read it once before.
Don't need to ever do it again.
Don't need to. So back to chapter 12. So the final chapter, you've got the collar's dead. There's an axe bedding him. There's a couple of rats over him as the Redeemer picks up the Bloodmere, the Bloodmere stone. And he's like, Malekith's like, the Bloodmere stone is yours, Lord. What would I want with this obscene deviant bauble?
But my lord, it's such a powerful, obscene, deviant bauble. You could present it to the Emperor and win as great reward. What reward do I need other than to serve him and cleanse Necromunda of heretics? I do like the, my lord, you are wounded. You're a genius, Malekith. Even though I am sure that thought bubble, that speech bubble is coming from the wrong person.
It is. It should be going.
Yeah.
It's coming from the pet rat skin rather than the
collapsing Redeemer.
Clovis, the Redeemer. And it's like, don't die, Redeemer. Necromunda needs you. As the Redeemer slept, he heard the Bloodmare's voice. and he sees the silhouette of the spider. It's like, while the jewel exists, I am not dead. While the stone thinks and dreams, I still am. I've given you the power. You cannot kill me now. This is not our end, but our beginning. All sorts of shadowy spiders in silhouette appear as the Redeemer lies there sleeping with a grimace on his face.
He wakes up to find that all of his zealots now have spider masks or spider heads. Malikev no longer will be a servant of the Bloodmare now and forever. Servants, slaves, you mean? Slaves to that horror. They must have been affected by the shockwave from her death. I too, for this is surely an illusion, a delirium of the mind, which I deny. He started to purify us with righteous zeal, furious at the thought that this new taint could spread through his beloved followers like a plague. Once more I recall it was truly said of him, Prince, slow to punish, prompt to reward. He suffered when he was obliged to be hard. Die, you sons of witches! And now, Malikev. Now I will be caller. Come, Clovis, fight me if you dare. I've waited so long with this moment for your humiliation, for you to tremble at my feet. Interesting, Malikev, but you're overlooking one small but pertinent fact which we shall no doubt discuss on long evenings together in my torture chamber, namely, that the spider is dead, all else are but her fading dreams. Pow! She called.
Yeah, he looks down as the Bloodmare stone crumbles and then, as I say, gets shot. Brilliant work from Wayne Reynolds.
Yep.
But she called to me and said we would have everything, only you could resist her. It's like, my lord, so pure in thought, I was not pure. You most certainly weren't. It's like, I looked forward to being punished by death, but the Redeemer warned me that this would be too easy an escape after such heinous sins. So it was that my Redeemer showed me at last the ultimate mercy. Far from leaving me to die in a state of blasphemy, he used an emergency medical pack to save me. Carried me back into the hive proper, back to the halls of the Blessed Redemption, where I underwent an extensive surgery. My new organism, while lacking the attractive qualities of the human original, also lacks its flaws. All biological needs are removed, and of course all urging towards sin is erased. Since that time, my task has been to record the blessed struggles of Clovis the Redeemer and his great work ridding humanity of weaknesses and deviation, of filth and abomination, to seek true purity. And you see he's basically a big, massive, mechanical spider-looking scribe droid with the head.
Yep, he's been servited.
Perched above a large book and filling it in the manuscript. And we get the last page, it's a big massive splash page, and it's like, he cannot be stopped. One day he will find you and purge your soul, that you may be perfect in the eyes of the Emperor. Fear not, he will find you, and you will be cleansed. This is the way of the redemption. The end.
I will say that this final part is probably the best the Redeemer got.
Yes.
There's a lot in here which I like a lot more. It's weighed down by everything that the Redeemer was before now.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's an enjoyable romp if you engage with it on that. But the point is, as we said, so we won't labour at length, because as there in part one is like, you've got basically you've got the surface read of Torquemada from Nemesis without any of the substance.
Yeah.
And it's like, the thing is, that in itself is not a bad thing, and as can be seen in this part, it's fun. But stretching out over a big story and expecting us to give much of a toss is the problem.
Yeah. I mean, it says a lot that one of the reasons this works so well for me, it works in such a better state, is Malikev takes front and centre stage for a lot of it. So you have a lot more Malikev, and Malikev being all mad and choppy kill. And that's really entertaining.
But it's the kind of thing, if you were to do the Redeemer as just a 2 or 3 parter, as is, I doubt we'd have had the strength of objections that we had in the first part.
No.
The first part. Because what you're trying to do is you're hanging a substantial story on a character like that, which is not to say that hasn't been done before in comics. There's a history of enough of them. I mean, strictly speaking, like the Punishers were like one of the most one-note characters going.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, there's ways to do something like that and make it fun. Lobo is the pitch perfect example.
Yes.
Classic Lobo, and Lobo's back. And a couple of the minis around that early part. Brilliant. Great fun. entirely stupid, of no substance whatsoever.
Yep.
But great fun, and there is a place for that. But it's more what you're giving us. The redemption is to say, in the context of Necromunda, like, you're the mad ones that House Cawdor's not particularly hot on.
Mm-hmm. And I think
Who?
if it
And
pushed
Cawdor
more,
are the mad ones.
yeah, these are the maddest of the mad. If it pushed more into outright black comedy or more into outright horror, I think it would have worked better. But because it sits in this weird halfway point of not really having a theme to it, it's just, as we said before, a collection of tropes and catchphrases. And I think it's why this final part works better, because there is a bit more to it. There is Malikev. There's the sheer, and a lot of it is down to Wayne Reynolds' work. The sheer horror of the Bloodmare and the Rat God, the throwaway jokes like, "Oh, that hurt. It must count." There is a little bit more going on here than what we've had, but as a whole, I think it's a big missed opportunity to really do something special.
Yeah, like, as we say, that's the whole point. When we were looking at this, we were seeing, again, knowing the type of writer Pat Mills can be, is like, there's something to have been had here.
Mm-hmm.
With, like, if you're doing that crusading, that religious zealot. Now, I know, obviously, Pat would always cast this type of character as the villain, because that's how he is. And, like, Pat's thoughts on kind of religious persecution are well known, and is I tend to agree with most of them, if I'm being honest. So it's like, but what you're having is you're trying to place this character who we know you think is the villain as the nominal hero of the story.
Yeah.
But and that doesn't ring true.
No, it doesn't. I mean, there's an entire conversation that could be had here about how there are no heroes in 40k. Which is absolutely a way of doing things, but you're presenting a propaganda version of Clovis here. It's not Clovis as he has been described. I mean, that might have been a way forward. You have it as it's all been written down by the Malikev.
Well, that's effectively what he's doing, and which is a trope he used quite heavily with Slain.
Mm-hmm.
Where you had Ukko doing the narration later on, particularly the Horned God and some of the other. It was the framing device for the Horned God with Bisley.
Yeah.
So the scope to kind of do that, but it's more. This is the tale that's being told. Well, the thing is, this is the tale being told from the point of view of Malikev.
Yeah.
So it is the thinly veiled propaganda bit, but we don't have anything to counteract that, to add the substance to it.
No.
Because one of the things for, like, particularly for Horned God, is you would have Ukko narrating, doing stuff, then they would break the narration and you have him interacting with characters at that point, which is long after Slane's death, and him having a rant about how he's been forced to do stuff or things that got censored and taken out. So like I say, it's more just, you've got someone of the caliber of Pat Mills doing something, and it's just, you could have got something better.
Yeah.
I mean, had that just been like a 4-parter, like a big daft dumb 4-parter, you probably wouldn't be as angry.
No, I think angry's too. I'm just
disappointed.
It's hard to connect with it, I think, because it has felt, and especially the way it's been presented and published, it has felt like it's just been overwhelming in a lot of ways, where it's too much of this one thing that I can't really get on with. And because of that, I think that's also very much influenced my reaction to it. Like, if that first parter had been, issue by issue by issue, maybe I would have been a bit, I don't know, but it's hard to say, because we were quite negative on that first issue, that first episode, when it was by itself anyway. But maybe that would have worked better, and it wouldn't have felt like it had been so overwhelmingly, this is this, and you must pay attention to it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. All in all, I think it ended on a higher note than it began.
Yes.
But I'm also very glad to see the back of it now.
Yes, I have no wish to see any more, and I don't think we do based on Pat's interviews over the years. So
No, it's done. It's done in a way. But it would be interesting to see why they did this, and that's something I'm trying to find answers for. So I think with all that being said, then we're going to get out of here because this has been quite a long episode.
Yep.
So, Andy, where can people find you if they so wish to hunt you down and ask you questions about why Scrounge is the greatest Transformer ever made?
Well, that would be factually incorrect. While he does have a special hand, he is not the greatest Transformer ever made. Other more worthy candidates are in front of him. All hail Longtooth. Blue Sky is pretty much my social media of choice. addcomics.bsky.social. If I say at the time of recording, how many episodes have we got in the can?
Three episodes in the can. So 6 weeks. Yeah.
Right. So by this point, I've probably TF Nation Minicon in Reading has been and gone. So if I saw you there, excellent. Probably just about to have the not yet announced Glasgow Gathering on the 13th of December in Glasgow. So me and Moth from Primetime Toys will be hosting and having fun between 12 till 8.
Excellent.
I'm on the Fluff and Hammer Discord, not as often as I should be. Mostly talking about comics and Rob Liefeld. Sure.
I've noticed the amount of Rob Liefeld.
And the TF Nation Discords as well. But other than that, I really should put more art on Instagram as well. But I've just kind of got a bit lazy. But that's pretty much where you can find me most times.
Excellent stuff. As for myself, you can find my personal work at adnicol, that's nitol.weebly.com, where you can find all of my art, some short stories, various bits and bobs, also some public domain readings. If you've ever wanted to get into some Philip K. Dick, I have some Philip K. Dick. Now it's in the public domain, up there for you to listen to. We can remember it for you wholesale, for example. Go on, listen to it. It's me reading you to sleep at night. You know you want to. As for the Fluff and Hammer, you can find us at thefluffandhammer.com. You can find us on Instagram, on Blue Sky, on Threads, he says, question mark. And we have a Discord, which you can find in the links below. Come join us, because at the end of the day, this community is wonderful, and we would like you to join us. Just don't talk to me about the Redeemer. And with all that being said, thank you, Andy, for joining me today.
As always.
And we will see you next time. Bye-bye.